You wrote a piece, can at Counterpunch, can the left disagree without being disagreeable? So can you talk about what you what motivated you to write that?
So, look, I mean, I happened to be in Asia, and there was this debate going on in China. People protested, but there was also active debate in social media about zero COVID. And, I've been hit hard by COVID. I got it 3 times. I've lost family members, like many people on the planet, lost friends. I lost a very
I'm
important
sorry.
person in my life, and so on. This was a wretched illness. All of them died in countries which essentially allowed COVID to run rampant. And I have always, from afar, appreciated the position the Chinese government took, which is like, you know what, we don't want to lose elders. And interestingly, in China, vaccination rates are not bad, but over 75 vaccination rate is low because elderly people just don't want to get vaccinated. Funny, for a country accused of being authoritarian, they're just not able to get the elders vaccinated. One of the reasons they've held on to zero COVID is to prevent, mass deaths of the elderly. That was one of the. So, it's Twitter, it's late at night, 1 or 2 drinks, whatever. I wrote on a piece of paper, zero COVID, took a picture, posted it on Twitter,
Should
said,
we
I'm
show? Let's
for,
show that, Brad. Can we?
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
perfect.
for zero COVID. I mean, it's late at night in a hotel room, whatever. Posted the picture. Now, obviously, I was using a pen, so I made the Z twice because
The
the hotel
Z,
pen, yeah, the
yeah,
Z
yeah.
twice. And so I suddenly got a range of attacks saying that you are for Russia's invasion of Ukraine because of the Z, and then you're pro China. So this brings together your authoritarian tendencies. And I felt, wow, I just posted a picture and I said, I'm in favor of no, COVID, because COVID is horrendous. And that's it. And suddenly you are a Putinist, Satanist, really. You are a Xi Jinpingist and XYZ. And I thought for a while I didn't take it seriously. And then this began to, it interested me as a sociological phenomena. Like, how is it possible that you want to write things on my body about things that I am supposed to have said, which I believe? Like, you are literally with a crayon writing stuff on my body. Why not just ask me, what do you believe? And maybe I'll tell you. So I decided that that was what was sort of pissing me off a little bit. Like, I don't feel happy to be ventriloquized. I mean, I'm going to come anyway. So I wrote this piece which essentially said, A, that's the context of that photograph. Calm the hell down. Secondly, I am in favor of negotiations in Ukraine. So if negotiations equals Putin talking point, stuff it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm for. You are for continuing the war. Go ahead and actually say it directly. Say that you want to continue this war forever, because that's what it's going to be like. And it's going to be really ugly for the Ukrainian people and for the Russians and for Europe, because energy prices are not going down anytime soon. Okay, that was one. Secondly, on China, I felt like saying, hey, listen, guys, firstly, take it easy. If you look at China from the perspective of India, and you look at what, both of these countries independent around the same time, India 1947, China 1949, both have about the same population, 1.4 billion. Just a year and a half ago, China eradicated absolute poverty. Okay, nobody doubts that. The UN has called it one of the most impressive feats in human history. We at Tricontinental produced an incredible study on the eradication of absolute poverty. I admire what they've done in China. I really admire that. I admire the way they dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic. I admire a lot of things about what the Chinese have done, especially when I compare it to India. It's admirable. Therefore, I am not going to, yell and scream about some small thing and say the entire project should be junked. There are things I disagree with. In fact, in China, and I'd like people to know this, not only are there 1.4 billion people, but there are 95 million members of the Communist Party. And it is a very fractious country. There are debates going on all the time in WeChat, Weibo. When you look at the social media, Chinese social media sites, I have them on my phone. I look at them all the time. Weibo is filled with debates. And there's a big seam of essentially Americanist thinking inside China. Lots of Chinese intellectuals were trained in the United States. They brought back neoliberal ideas. They brought back ideas about Jeffersonian democracy. It's a rich and vibrant debating culture. So, you know, it's not that you have to either love everything or hate everything. There are things you can disagree with, and you must. But there are also things that rationally you should admire. It's ridiculous that people can't say that what the Chinese did with poverty is not admirable. That's ridiculous. Go talk to the people of India, 700 million of them living in deprivation, and tell them, in your next life, would you prefer to be born in China or in India? Ask them that, sitting on the street with a begging bowl, elephantitis on their foot and so on. There's an arrogance in the Western warrior states, a lack of understanding of what they have achieved in China, regardless of all the problems. And that's what I really wanted to put on the table is, you can disagree as the left, but don't be disagreeable. Let's disagree. Let's have a discussion. And in a sense, I don't enter into things to disagree with people. I enter into a discussion in order to understand things better. If you're able to convince me of something, if you have evidence of things that are interesting to me, then I'll absorb it. I'm not interested. This is not a gladiator
Mm,
contest. We want wisdom. We don't want blood. Wisdom is what we seek, not blood.
I like that. Pro wisdom, anti blood. I like that. Not hemophobia or anything, which is I realize would that be the word for it?
Hemophilia or
Well,
hemophobia?
hemophobia, right?
Oh,
If we're anti
hemophilia,
blood.
fear of blood. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's
Okay, that's
yeah,
an
right? Must be.
interesting term. I like
Must be,
that
yeah.
term. I
We
have
may have made
hemophobia.
history. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Are you a hemophobe?